Hey everybody, James with Love My Pets, My British Supply. Got a treat for you today. So my sister Debbie here, I've got two sisters and they're both here for a wedding. Chanel's getting married on Friday. And this girl is a wealth of knowledge about dog foods, and she's going to explain why that might be. And then we're going to talk about ingredients, what you should be looking for so you can help decode these labels. Because I think I'm an expert. You just in 5-minute conversation, you told me so much that I didn't know about dog food, about the games that are played.
By the way, it's a lot of fun telling him why he's wrong about stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
My
exactly
favorite
right.
thing to do of all time is to prove my brother wrong. So that's
Well,
what I'm here for. No,
I thought I was wrong one time back in 1986, but it turned out that was not true.
No.
So, well, tell us why are you qualified to talk about this? What do you bring to the table?
Sure. Well, so I used to run a company called Wellness Pet Food. And it's now more than 15 years since I did that. But I was around when we created the first grain-free dog food. So I have quite a bit of perspectives on what it is and why you do it and what you do and what you don't do more generally in pet food nutrition. And I'm still sitting on the board of various companies that are in the pet food industry, do a lot of diligence, still working. Despite
you love
being almost as ancient as him.
Yeah, well, not quite, but a few years off. But
Yeah.
and also you love dogs too.
And I love dogs.
I mean, you in fact, I think when you had Old Mother Hubbard was one of the products that Wellness
that was
had.
one of our brands.
Wasn't
yeah.
Wasn't it your dog that was on the?
No, my dog. We had a rescue dog, cute little dog, but the dog used to scratch and itch, and we didn't know why. We thought all dogs scratch and itch. But when I joined Wellness Pet Food and we created the Wellness Core Food, which is grain-free, magically her itching went away. Turned out that she was allergic to some kind of grain, so grain-free food was good for her.
Okay, good. So this video is going to be about specifically how you read a label and what that means. And then I think we may break this up into 2 videos because of the length of it. Then we're going to do probably another video where we can talk specifically about other kinds of diets like raw foods as well. And about if you're not going to go that way, what makes sense on the other side of it. So where do you want to start on this? Do you want to talk about a label?
Let's just start with saying we'll only talk about adult dogs and maybe average sized dogs, because what dogs need does depend on their age, their life stage, their weight, their breed size, etc. So we'll just stick with the average for now. And I'd also say let's stick with just chicken or turkey, poultry-based diets, because you can get into all sorts of, lamb and exotic animals. So let's just be basic. Sound good?
Yes, like the unicorn-based diet's very, very expensive, extremely rare, but it's excellent diet. But I have a hard time finding that one.
Yeah,
so
it's magical.
It's magical. That's right. Okay. All right.
So when people ask me about what pet food should I buy, the first thing I say is take a look at the pet food, the ingredient label, and look at the top 5 ingredients, because that's actually the bulk of what's in there. The way it works is the very first item on the ingredient label is the thing that is the most of in the diet, if that's making sense.
It makes complete sense to me.
So it goes in the order of inclusion. Now, if you have, let's say, fresh meat, fresh chicken, that's actually very bulky. It's got a lot of water in it. So you can actually put fresh chicken in, and it comes as first ingredient just because of the bulk and the amount of water. If you actually then put it in as dried chicken instead of fresh chicken, it would be lower down the label.
And it doesn't look as good.
Doesn't look as good.
But in fact it is.
Yep,
because water's water.
Water's water. Right. So there's an awful lot of messing around with the labels. That's the first thing to know. But you should look at the label and say, what are the top 5 ingredients? And I generally say, try and have fresh meat or some kind of meat meal. And this depends a little on your philosophy.
So what does meal mean?
Yeah, so there's meal, and then there's meal products, and there's deboned, etc.
Yes,
so let's just quickly go through that.
Right.
So if you think about deboned chicken, it's exactly what you think it is. It's the chicken that you cut off the bone. Right. If you go into a chicken meal, that is basically the carcass, and it's ground up.
So the whole chicken has been put into some kind of machine.
So it won't have. So the chicken meal won't have the heads and feet and feathers and stuff.
Yes. Okay.
A chicken byproduct meal. And by the way, a chicken meal may actually have some of the fresh chicken in it too. So it might be most of the body of the chicken kind of ground up.
Might or might not be.
Might or might not be. You can't be quite.
As opposed to if it says whole, it is unadulterated. Deboned. If it says deboned chicken, it is actually the good meaty parts that you and I would like to have.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. It may include the skin.
Yes, well, we'd take that too. Yes, but it wouldn't have the bones in it. It wouldn't have the beaks and the feet and the,
exactly.
and it wouldn't have the guts and the
but
organs.
a chicken byproduct meal is actually mostly bones
Anything they
and
want to
feet
put in
and
it.
beaks and,
Anything they want to
basically.
put in it.
Right.
So that's right.
Which, you know, depends on your philosophy, what you want. Do you want to feed your dog the same as what you eat? Or do you actually, or, you know, but a dog, you know, maybe your dog is a tough dog and you want to treat it like a wild dog and you want to let it eat whatever it would like to eat, including bones and everything else that they can chomp up, which is what it's the whole animal, right?
Yes, right, absolutely.
So there's a philosophy around that. You know, personally, we've tended to treat our dogs like they were members of the family, and we've tended to want to give them basically ingredients that are the same as what humans eat. And I should just add, they're omnivores, not carnivores. They need a balanced diet.
We're omnivores.
We're omnivores.
Right.
Cats are carnivores.
Yes. Okay.
Dogs are omnivores. So they need, you know, meat and so they need protein, they need carbohydrates, you know, etc. Just like we do.
A balance of all this stuff.
Balance, right?
Yes. Right. Right.
Right. So,
and it is very confusing because I mean there's such a big price range on this stuff, isn't it? I mean, you know, you're going to show us some examples. I mean, for instance, one of the ones I think you'll look at is Old Roy.
Yeah.
Which is a Walmart label, which is probably the least expensive food that you can possibly buy. There's a reason for it when you look at the label.
Yeah.
Versus, I think Debbie's going to show you some stuff like her wellness product that she's not affiliated with this anymore, so she's not trying to push a product here at all. You've got no dog in this hunt, do you? You don't have any reason to. This is just straight out of the horse's mouth. This is what we think is best. With there's no credits being given to companies to sell products at all. This is just, you know, just a straight conversation about what we think it really means.
Well, so let's start with Old Roy. Okay. So it is the cheapest thing you can find out there. You buy it at Walmart in 50-pound bags.
For $28.
Well, and James and I actually went online a little earlier and we tried to find the ingredients. We couldn't find the ingredients.
There's a reason why.
Yeah. So, you know, we eventually dug around a bit. And
let's just say it says on it roasted chicken.
It does.
The very front of the box. It sounds delicious. It's like, hey, it's Thanksgiving. It says roasted chicken. I mean, there's the whole conversation about what roasted might mean. But anyway, the thing is the very first thing the label says chicken, which has been roasted. Right.
And I don't remember now the exact percentage, but if you're going to say something's in it, you have to have more than a certain percent. I think it's like 10 or 20%.
Okay.
So there is some chicken in it.
Yes.
And then if you say with something.
Yes,
so
there is some chicken in it. But if we were guessing, it's probably about whatever the minimum amount is.
Right.
Which is
well,
around
so I'm just going to read this to you because it's pretty hard to
Can you turn it around and show it to them? I know they won't be able to see it. But look, here's the thing. You can go to any of these websites and you can go get an ingredient label. And that's what we're reading off here.
Right.
And by the way, there's different kinds of ingredient labels. One of them just tells you about exactly the percentage of proteins, crude proteins, fats. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the actual ingredients that will always be, hopefully, somewhere on a label.
Yeah, well, so I'll just quickly read to you what's on this one.
Yep.
This is Old Roy. Ground corn.
So that's number one.
Right, so the largest ingredient is corn.
Right.
Right.
Why is that?
Why is that?
Yes.
Because it's actually, you know, a reasonable source of protein and carbohydrates.
And it's cheap.
And it's cheap.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. And it's like, you know, for ourselves, if we eat a lot of bread, then
we get obese.
We get calories. We get obese. Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of this in America, don't we? We had a conversation about that. You know, we've got a lot of people whose diets they should be eating the dog food they're giving their dogs because you could lose weight and be you might go out in the middle of the street and get run over.
No, actually, the conversation was this: that it's really hard for us to limit our own diets because we've got access to all this stuff.
Got to put a lock on the fridge,
right? And we're not going to lock the fridge, but you can decide what your dog's going to eat.
That's right.
And you can, if you want your dog to be in good shape, you actually do need to manage what they eat. So be careful about too much treating.
Well, that's the other part of it. So Tammy is very adamant about me not giving treats to dogs.
Yep.
And so we pretty much, I only sneak one every now and then when she's not watching.
I've seen her do it.
Yeah. And so Kit, for instance, will sit on my lap and watch TV with me, and she really likes popcorn. She doesn't eat very much of it, and so I feel like that's not too harmful. But I mean, the point here is it's very, the dogs love it so much.
There's an epidemic of obesity in dogs
and
in
people.
Pets.
And people.
During COVID in particular, people
right.
have been home with their dogs, and so guess what? The dogs are getting treated more.
Yes.
And dog treats are growing something like 20% per year. I mean, it's a phenomenal growth rate because people are just buying all these treats. Fat dogs.
Well, happy dogs, happy owners.
Okay.
As far as the way they feel about their dogs,
until you
but
have to pay for all the medical bills because your dog's sick.
or the dog dies early, or gets obese and jumps off the couch and breaks a leg. I mean, there's all kinds of.
You don't want to hang around with us, obviously.
No, but
all right, look, come on. I want to read these ingredients.
Well,
So
I think I'm going to break. I'm going to stop
yeah.
you here in a second. I'm going to break this up now because this is already a 10-minute video. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stop this and we're going to do the next video that's going to be specifically now about what we're really talking about, the meat and potatoes of dog foods.
I like it.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.